GM. Saturday, 10th of Feb. Ask Michael live. Let's go. GM. G fucking M. GM. So, how are we all? Good? Fantastic. Excellent. Happy Chinese New Year to those of you who celebrate. The year of the dragon has begun. The year of the... What was it last year? The year of the cat, wasn't it? Or something like that? Rat or cat or monkey or fucking... I don't know. We're in the dragon year now. GM. That's good. I like that one, Bruce. I'm going to have to steal that. That's funny. It was a rat year last year, yeah. GM. Alright. GM. So, questions? Let's get into it. Foxy Trader GM. I often make impulsive decisions when buying coins spot without any system and just relying on one conviction or a few, and then the coin goes down or look at reasons to stay in the trade to prove I'm not wrong. What's hard for me is if I cut my trade, first I have to admit I'm wrong, second I suffer the loss of money. When I don't cut, most of the time I suffer months of opportunity cost or 50% drawdown. Sometimes if I don't enter and the coin does 2x, I feel like shit for not buying. So how can I have a flexible mindset that I can change my mind about a coin without it affecting me in future? Yeah, so you're not trading, you're gambling, first of all. So it's really important that you accept that you're not a trader. And feel that, hopefully, feeling of slight pain. And hopefully you'll have the honesty with yourself to say, this is not trading. Making impulsive decisions without a system and relying on essentially what you're doing is you're using confirmation bias, or you're fitting data to your pre-existing bias. It's like, I want to go long Bitcoin because Bitcoin's going up and Bitcoin's bullish. So I'm going to go and I'm going to look at the funding rate. And what does the funding rate say? Funding rate is rising. Okay, that's not good for my bullish bias. So let me go and look for something else. What about liquidations? Oh, there's been a lot of short liquidations here. Now we're at the top. There's been less short liquidations. Oh, there was some long liquidations. So I'm going to say that there was long liquidations. Therefore, longs have been stopped out, so I can get long now. It's a very simple example of how you can just go and find. If you look hard enough, there's always a fucking indicator. There's always a chart pattern. There's always a data point. There's always something on chain. There's always a tweet. There's always someone's article. There's always an opinion. There's always a fear and greed sentiment indicator. There's endless amounts of data if you want to confirm your pre-existing bias. That's not trading. Trading is, first of all, trying to disprove something. So, simple example. Bullish divergence on RSI. Everyone knows what a bull div is. If you've watched my RSI lesson, you'll know what that is. It's one of the most common retail... Well, I wouldn't even say retail. Like, RSI is a valuable tool if used correctly. It's a momentum indicator, but it's very, very common. It is very retail friendly and very retail heavy. So, a bullish divergence. Just by its very name, people think this is bullish. Yes, but if the RSI bullish divergence was enough to actually make money in the markets, then why would anyone bother trying to do anything else? It'd just be easy, right? We'd all just use bullish divergences and fucking print millions of dollars. As is the case with everything, the RSI divergence or the moving averages or the on-chain data or the funding rate, the open interest, the CVD, all of these are just merely tools. And just like you wouldn't use a hammer to butter a slice of bread, you don't use a certain indicator or a certain tool or a certain technique in all market conditions. The context you apply to whatever indicator it is extremely important. You have to have the right tool for the right job at the right time. And that's what building a system is. So if you can find RSI, if you just bought every bullish divergence, right, just blindly waited for a bull div on the 4-hour chart and you just bought, you would probably lose, right? On balance, you would lose. Because if it was that easy to just win doing that, then it would be extremely simple for somebody to code an algorithm to say bullish divergence equals buy, and then they would just print infinite money. Because it's so easy to do that, it obviously cannot happen. Not consistently over time. Anything that is really simple to code into an algorithm that has edge has already been done by someone, because there are millions of people with billions of dollars all chasing the same thing, which is, how do I make money out of the market? And you can be sure that all these big trading firms, the quantitative ones and prop shops of proprietary trading firms, basically everywhere that builds their own systems and then automates them, the very first thing they'll do, and have done years ago, and they will keep these running, the very first thing they'll do is take all the most basic stuff and run it. They'll run it on simulations and they'll run it live to see, does it actually have any edge? And if it does, they keep running it until it doesn't have edge. If it doesn't, they discard it. So, there's a lesson I did, Foxy Trader. Which is, how to avoid feeling bad when you lose. That's this one. I think you should listen to this lesson. And anyone else in your situation should do that too. The reason you won't cut your trade is because your ego is involved. The reason your ego is involved is because you're not trading a system, you're trading your opinion. If you trade your opinion, you care more about whether the coin goes up or down than if you just trade your system. You're focused on the outcome, not the process. If you focus on the process and you have a RSI divergence system and you test it 100 times and you realize that it wins 52 times and it loses 48 times, but there's positive risk reward, maybe you make 1.4 returns for every dollar you risk, and therefore if it's above 1, so if it's 1.4 hour and it's above 50% win rate, guess what? That's a profitable system. Then, because you've done that work and then you start trading it live, and ideally you trade it small. I know the other thing for sure, 100% guaranteed, the other thing you're doing, Foxy Trader, is you're risking too much money because you're probably trying to make money rather than trying to trade. Again, that can be easily fixed. Just step back, reduce it to $1, start trading your systems live, and understand, if you've actually done the 100 back tests and you understand that the RSI system wins 52% of the time on average, and even with that, even with losing 48 out of 100, it's still profitable, then when you trade live and you have a loser, you'll be like, yeah, I know on average there's going to be 48 of these in every 100. So there's going to be almost 5 in every 10. That means almost 1 in 2 trades is going to lose. But that's fine, because my system is proven profitable over time in backtesting, and now my job is to test it live and see, does that hold up in real world live trading. So it's not about having a flexible mindset that you can change your mind about a coin. That's the complete opposite. Because what you're trying to say there is, how do I continue to be discretionarily gambling? Right? It's not a flexible mindset. You don't want a flexible mindset. You want a fixed mindset. Fixed on one thing. Systems. You don't want your mindset to be involved at all. You don't want to change your mind about a coin. You want your system to say, this coin is bullish per my system. I will go long because there's a signal. This coin is bearish per my system. I will go short because my system says. You outsource your thinking to the systems. It's like what's actually a very similar analogy, and it's something I hate, which is trading signals. Short-term trading signals are negative EV. I've talked about this a million times. But the reason why people love, at least when you first start out trading, and you see all these Telegram fucking groups and all these, Discord groups and all these fucking Forex signals shit and crypto signals shit where they're spitting out a bunch of signals every day. This isn't the same as like what Adam does. Adam's is just, should you hold Bitcoin or altcoins? Is it risk on, risk off? That's different. This is like entry, stop loss, take profit on whatever coin it is, right? The reason why there's such a demand for that from the retail public is because they want to take their own opinion out of it. They want to blame someone else when they lose. It's actually not really about winning. A lot of people think it is. They're like, oh, look at these pump signals. They make so much profit. Look at all the people sharing their wins, which is obviously just scam or a short-term run of luck or a run of winning trades, but they actually want to have an excuse when it loses. Because what happens if I give a signal, entry, buy Bitcoin, 40k, stop loss 39k, target 43, and then it hits a stop loss, what do? Do you blame yourself? No, you blame Michael. Fucking idiot. What a shit signal. I knew it was going to go down, but Michael said go long, so I went long. He's wrong. I have to take no blame, no responsibility for my own actions, for losing my own money. That's a really dangerous place to be as a trader. You're not a trader for a start if you do that. If you follow another person's opinion, or if you follow another person's advice, you're by definition not a trader. They're a trader. You're not, right? Because you're taking someone else's opinion or system or idea. So essentially, this is what rich people do with like hedge funds. Rich people who run businesses, they have no technical knowledge or knowledge in the markets, but they have a lot of excess capital that they've built up through their business. They'll invest that with some type of institution, whether it's an investment firm, a hedge fund, a proprietary trading shop that gets outside capital, and they will give that money to somebody who they deem as a professional with the promise of, we will give you X return, based on our past performance. Right? That's like how it's done at a very high level professional sense. But on the low level retail sense, it's the same thing as the signals, except it doesn't work, obviously, long term. So if you want to outsource your thinking to another person, then understand you're not ever going to be a trader. If you want to become a trader, then you must live and die by your own decisions. But you don't want to live and die by your own opinion. This is the problem. You have no right, nobody really has any right to tell the market where to go. It doesn't matter if you've got 50 years experience or 5 minutes experience. You can't come in and say, I'm bullish, therefore I'm going long and the market's going to go up. It's alright to have that opinion, but to expect the market to even fucking give a single fuck about who you are or what you've done is frankly illogical. So the decisions you should take are ones that put you in the best position to have a system that can make the trading decisions for you. And so then when you're wrong, you can blame your system. And don't blame it as in, oh, this system's bad, I need to get rid of it. It's like, no, I had a loss, but that's fine, because every system has losses. But I know that because of basic probabilities and the law of large numbers, that over time, there's a higher chance that this system will yield profitable returns in the long run. That's all it is. When you start out trading, you feel like every single trade is the most important thing in the world. And if this trade loses, you're fucked. Or if this trade wins, you're euphoric. But that shit doesn't matter. You're not going to take one trade and then retire. You're going to take dozens and hundreds of trades, depending on your time frame and the style of trading you have. And even if you trade long term, even if you're like a multi-week or multi-month swing trader, over a 10-year period, you're going to take hundreds of trades. Right? And if that's the case, then no one trade matters. The only thing you can do is take your trades, limit your risk, and hopefully be exposed to asymmetric returns when it wins. Styropian. What do you think about Render? Render's fine. I've talked about Render quite a bit. I'm pretty sure I did it on the last altcoin stream on Thursday. You can check that stream out. Render's okay. I think Akash is better. From everything from the chart, which is better, the structure is better, the Bitcoin chart's better, the project itself as well, I think is slightly better. But Render by no means is Render a bad project. I think it is legit. I think they've been around for a long time. They are building, they are shipping stuff. Render is it's got a higher market cap and a slightly worse tokenomics and more VCs. So to me, that's a slight negative. But it's got some positives, like it's aligned with Solana, and Solana's a big hype this cycle. And it ties in nicely into some good trends, such as like the Apple Vision Pro, because Render focuses much more on like graphics and VR and all that kind of stuff. It's a specialist GPU reuse. It's basically about reusing GPU power, but very much specifically for graphics rendering. Whereas AKT is like you can reuse and rent out your GPU and buy or sell compute in a general purpose for anything, whether it's for training large language models or whatever. So it's a slightly different project to something like AKT. And it's fine. Yeah, like, I would say render's fine. Klaus, GM, my week has been fantastic, as always. Every day on Earth is a good day. Hasdoors, GM, how do you spend your hours related to trading? What do you do except from backtesting and live trading? Offer some hiking, GM, good stuff. Would take too long. I'm currently putting together the bull market workflow, which is the answer to your exact question, so I'll do that. You'll see that dropping soon. Valentine, GM, can you tell us about your own 3 to 5 year plan briefly? Have a great day. 3 to 5 year plan is, I mean, to be honest, at this point, my plan is just to keep getting better, just to improve in every area. So it goes from trading. I talked about this yesterday towards the end of the stream about mastery. And so that's always my path and my plan and my goal with trading is to get better. It's a pursuit of mastery, even though knowing that you'll never actually reach it, which is fine as well, because it's one of those things that you realize this, everyone realizes it, I guess, at different stages of their life, but there is no such thing as like an end goal. There is no top of the mountain. You know, they say that when you get to the top of the mountain, you start to look at the next one. There's always a higher peak. So for me, it's just to continue getting better, which means more consistency, fewer drawdowns, more profit, obviously. And over time, just seeing that portfolio equity curve going up and to the right in a smoother fashion, right? Fewer drawdowns, less chop, more up and right. Physically then, staying in good health and getting better and fitter and stronger and healthier, remaining healthy. And for the real world is to continue growing it. Million students in the real world. That's the big goal for all of us collectively as profs. Ahmed, and so Valentine as well. So in terms of years, that's really it. It's like every one of those things is part of my long-term focus, like work-wise and health-wise. And I just take it 1 year at a time. And I do have like 3 year, I have the same way that's said in boot camp. I do have like my 3 year target broken down then into years. So like for me this year, like health wise, probably is the most easy one to talk about or clearest one to talk about. Where for me, I want to get back into playing golf consistently again this year. Something I played all my life, but very sporadically. And part of that is just finding the time to actually dedicate to practice and fixing some old injuries, which I'm currently have done and I'm doing, so that I can be pain free when doing it, which is already happening and is going well. So with that in mind, a target for me with that would be like I want to be able to play golf like 3 times a week, meaning like play one round of golf, like one actual round of golf, and maybe go to the driving range or go and practice some drills or whatever twice a week. That would be a good target for me to hit. And that's very easy to do. Like I can find the time for that, right? Because I live close to golf courses and driving ranges. It's not hard to get to the place. It's just about putting it in and fitting it into my schedule. So for me, that's something that I'm focusing on. Ahmed, can holding a futures contract for too long have any negative consequences other than risk of liquidity? Well, I think you mean risk of liquidation if you're using leverage. So that is one. But that should be avoided by the use of stop losses. And yeah, the other risk is funding. So if you're holding perpetual futures, you'll pay a funding. Generally, you'll be paying funding rather than receiving it. If you're long in a bull market, funding rates will generally be positive. And so over time, if you're on most exchanges, it's every 8 hours. Every 8 hours, there is a funding fee. So like the flat funding fee is 0.01%. So if you imagine, let's say you had a 10K position open on Bitcoin, right? So you had a $10,000 notional value position on Bitcoin. You'd be paying $1 in funding every 8 hours just to keep that position open. Yeah, that's if the funding rate was at neutral, 0.01%. So that's like $3 a day, roughly. And then, times that out across 30 days, you're paying $100 roughly, $90 a month to hold that position open. So if you held that position open then for a year, you'd be paying $1,000 in a year. So you'd be paying $1,000 to hold the position open, and the position's worth 10k. So you're paying 10% just to keep it open. But of course, the idea is not that that position stays at 10k. The only reason you're long is that you think it goes up. So the idea is that it goes up in value and that you're able to close it in profit at some point, and that the difference in the profit you make from price appreciation outpaces the cost of funding. So in a really simple sense, if funding was 0.01%, so you're paying roughly 0.03% every day, yeah? So you're roughly every 10 days paying 3%. Okay? Because you're paying 0.03, you're paying 0.3% every 10 days. So every 10 days, price must go up at least 0.3%, just so you can cover the cost of funding. Now, with the volatile nature of crypto, that if you're correct directionally, that should be very easy to do, right? If your prices move up and down even 1% or more every day. So funding doesn't really have a big impact if it's like that. But the difference is that when prices go up, and when they go up consistently, funding rates will rise to 0.02, 0.03, 0.04, 0.05. And at times, your funding costs can be pretty expensive. But in general, that's not a massive factor. And of course, there are times where you're long and funding goes negative, which means you're actually getting paid to hold the position. But also, generally, that's not when price is going up. So even though you're getting paid to hold the position, you're probably losing because the price probably has gone down. So yeah, that's the only real outside of liquidation, funding rates is the other thing you need to keep an eye on. Leggy, GM. I have a problem where I just can't stop procrastination. I did quit playing video games over 1.5 years ago, but I can't find a way to delete all the other procrastinations. Okay, so you can't stop procrastinating on YouTube or Instagram. Well, that's very easy. Delete the apps. Why do you still have an Instagram account? Delete it. I deleted mine 2 years ago. Why do you need it? If you don't make money off Instagram, you don't need Instagram. Spend less time living other people's lives, which is what you're doing on Instagram, and start living your own life. The only people who should have Instagram are people who use it for business purposes. Otherwise, you're a consumer, not a creator. If you're a creator on Instagram and you're monetizing it, great. That's a valid source of income, especially in the modern world. If you're not a creator, you're a consumer. Same as YouTube. If you're not putting out content and getting paid ad revenue, or you're not using it to really in a very small time frame to actually learn something, then you are a consumer, not a creator. You're not adding any value. You're just mindlessly consuming other people's content, and you're putting money in their pocket by essentially giving away the finite amount of time you have on this earth to put money into someone else's pocket. I don't think that's a good idea. So, delete all that shit. Think about movies. Nothing wrong with watching movies. I'm going to watch The Godfather tonight, actually. After this stream, I'm going to get some food. Well, no. First, going to go and go to the sauna, then go to cold plunge, and then I'm going to get some food. I'm going to watch The Godfather because it's a fucking G movie, and I want to watch it. And that's because I have completed what I've needed to done. I've completed most of the tasks that I've needed to do. Basically, all the tasks I need to do up until this point. Some more stuff I'm going to do tomorrow. But there's nothing wrong with watching a movie. You must earn it, though. Right? So you have to have had some things that are on your list for your goal crushers and say, all right, this week I got my back testing done. I completed, 6-7 days in a row of my, daily tasks. I tick them all off. I've got 9 out of 10 on my goal crushers for the week. I'm going to watch a movie. So it's all very easy. It just takes a little bit of, a minimal amount of discipline. It doesn't take discipline to stop YouTube and Instagram. It takes 5 seconds to right-click, delete the app. Done. That's not even discipline. Just get rid of it. If you leave Instagram on your phone, it takes discipline to not open it. If you delete it from your phone, no discipline is required. It is that simple. So get rid of it. And for the movies, just put them behind a reward. A really simple one I always use is, I love fucking coffee. I absolutely love coffee. Best thing, if I had one single drink that I could keep for the rest of my life, it would be coffee. Outside of, I guess, water, because you need it to survive. But I don't have my first coffee until I've done my full morning routine and I've recorded both my videos, the daily levels and trade of the day. Every day, that's my first little mini reward, is to have a coffee. And do I need to do that? Like, if I get up and just have a coffee straight away, does that mean I'm not going to get my routine done or I'm not going to record my videos? No, I'll still do them. But it's nice to just have that little bit of discipline or that habit of earning something that you like. Something that you find enjoyable, or something that, like coffee, that, you know, gives you a bit of a boost and gives you a bit of energy and makes you more productive. It's nice to just put that behind a very simple task, something you're going to do anyway. It's just a better way to be. So just do that. You know, one of the worst things, and I get this question a lot. You're sitting and you're sort of like, you're overthinking something that is very, very simple, which is, I don't know how to stop procrastinating, so I'm going to sit down and I'm going to worry about why I can't stop procrastinating, and I'm going to write a message out about why I can't stop procrastinating, and I can't find a way to get out of this procrastination. But by doing that, you're procrastinating. You already know the answer. All the things I just said, you already know them, because I talk about them in bootcamp. The whole first week is dedicated to this, and everything I just said now is not something new. Right? Everyone who's been through bootcamp, you've heard me say this before. You know the answer. It's get rid. So all the cheap dopamine traps, get rid of them. And if you want to not procrastinate, then take the things you like doing and put them as a reward for doing the things you need to do. That's all it is. And here's the other thing. You're not going to be perfect all the time. Right? You might have a few weeks of really good productivity, and then you have a shit week, a week where you get distracted and you procrastinate and you fall off track and all this kind of stuff. That doesn't mean that, I failed, I can't do it, that's it now, I'm fucking, you know, just because I was productive for 3 weeks, then I had a bad week, well, I guess I should just stop trying. No. Just catch yourself and say, cool, I slipped up. Right, but I had 3 good weeks, I had 1 bad week. Back on track again. Every single day you can start again. Every single day is another day to get back on track. And that's probably like one of the worst parts about procrastination, is that sometimes people will be productive for a while and then they'll fall off, and then they'll just think, well, fuck it. What's the point of even being productive if I'm just going to fail anyway? That's a really, really slippery slope. It doesn't matter how long. Like, the other, I'll link another lesson, because there's a couple that comes to mind. This one, it's never too late to become the person you wish you were. This is another good one to listen to, because it's super common for people to beat themselves up and end up compounding the negative side of things. But you can literally fuck up the first 40 years of your life and then crush it in year 41. You can go 70 years with no major success and then crush it in your 71st year. Now, if you're 21, don't fucking wait till you're 70 to do it. Don't wait till you're 40. But if you're 21, you feel like you've wasted the first 21 years of your life, cool. So what? Tomorrow, you start again. New person. At any point, you have complete control over your life. You have complete control over your destiny. Living in the past is just as pointless as living in the future. You can only live in the present. So you learn from the past and you prepare for the future, but you live in the present. And it's every single day. You have to just focus on doing the best you can that day, which is getting 1% better towards whatever your higher picture, big goal, higher time frame, big picture goals. And, you know, if you've had a bad day or a bad week or a bad month, the only way you can make it worse is by not fixing it, right? If you had 3 good weeks and then 1 bad week, well, you can immediately fix that by having a good day tomorrow. You don't have to think about, I have to be on it and productive for every single day for the rest of my life. No, because you can't live every day of your life. You can only live today. So just focus on that. Adam's Lawnmower, GM. Do you ever trade shit coins you find on DEX tools? And if so, what type of system do you use? I've been using the RSI for entries and exits, as recommended by Prof. Adam. Seems to be working quite well when you couple that with playing the narratives. A bit. I mean, I have done. So, like, Pepe coin that I traded a few weeks ago, Multibit, they were found. They were through DEX tools or DEX Screener. They were mostly on chain at the time. Yeah, like a bunch of them. Like, there's a bunch of coins that I have bought and sold or traded in and out. Yeah, but mostly just narrative and really basic technical analysis. If you think there's a hot coin that's on chain in a good narrative, it's mostly about narrative. And then you just want to not buy the top, and you want to buy some decent pullback. You can use really basic things like moving averages. One of the best, it's not even really a system, it's just a rough process, which is pretty solid, is if you find if you feel like you are in an early stage trend of some new narrative, right? And you see a coin, like let's say it's like a meme coin, and you see like Bonk a few months ago when it was starting to go up and it was starting to get a bit of attention, and you saw the chart going up, usually waiting for some initial peak of hype and then a 50% correction and then buying in, that sets you in the best situation. Because if you wait for a 50% correction on these on-chain coins, that's extremely common and happens very easily. 50% corrections are super easy. Like, price can go down that much in fucking an hour candle. And at that point, you then put the odds in your favor, because either you're wrong and it goes down whatever amount more it goes down, and if so, you take the loss and move on. And if you're right, you usually have a really good entry because you've bought after all the hype and after a decent correction. But if you're correct about the narrative, you're usually buying the local lows before a new high, so you can quite often get at least a 2x out of it. So yeah, I do, like, I trade them a bit, but for me it's not my main focus, because you have to be an inch wide, mile deep, right, as a trader. And I know many guys who do it. Like, I know loads of traders who do it, and I know there's a whole community who do that, right? Their entire game is on-chain shitcoining, and they're trying to buy stuff at a couple hundred thousand market cap and riding it up to a few million and selling. And then there's others who get in once it's above $1 million and they try and ride it to 10 million. And there's others who get in at 10 million and try to ride it to 100 million. And, centralized exchange listings is usually their exit point. There's people who play those. That's the way they trade. But I spend a lot more time focusing on Bitcoin, and I trade Bitcoin a lot more because Bitcoin is where I trade best, and the numbers say it's where I make most of my profit over time. And then altcoins along with that. So, like, mostly altcoins that are on centralized exchanges. And any of the on-chain shitcoining is, for me, like trying to find something that's just early and I feel has a good positive trend to it, and I will play them, but it's not like my key focus. For me, it would have to be something would have to really stand out as this is like free money, which obviously you never know if it's free money, but over time I've learned to identify areas or coins or trends that should skew the odds in my favor. But do I go into DEX Screener every day and try and trade all the shit that's pumping? No. Because other people do that. And it would require me to basically abandon everything I've done in the last several years and then rebuild a whole new process around this style of trading that other people are already way ahead of me on, because they spend every single day, in Telegram groups and scanning the contracts and filtering out the rugs and following the Twitter pages and following the groups and all that kind of stuff. It's a different style, right? You can't be a specialist at everything. So, also, do you suffer from eye strain? No, I don't. Look, this is one of the things where I spend more time on screens than anyone. Like, as much, if not more, right? Because I'm either on here, or I'm trading, or I'm on my phone, basically all day, right? So I guess just naturally I don't get eye strain. I do have a very healthy diet. I do keep myself in physical shape. I do get always, I never ever neglect my sleep. I do always start my day with no screens and getting out into the natural sunlight and spending time outside. And I do look after my health and my body. And I feel like that extends over into it. Absolutely, 100%. But outside of that, I think maybe even if I didn't do all that stuff, I just don't think I would get eye strain because it's never something I've suffered from, thankfully. So maybe just naturally I'm not predisposed to that. But I do also like I always use, so every screen I have is on night mode constantly. You know, like you can turn your, everything I have is Apple, so your MacBook or your iPhone, you can put it onto night shift and you can turn the color way down so that it's kind of got a yellow orange tinge to it, which when you first do it seems different, but after literally 30 minutes you're like, your eyes will get so, if I turn off night shift mode on any of my devices, like my eyes are like, holy fuck, like it's like the difference is crazy. So first of all, do that, minimize the blue light. I wear blue light blocking glasses in the evening, which don't know how much help it is, but the glasses cost like fucking $30 off Amazon, and isn't it better to wear them than not? Right? That's like my view on it. It's like they don't harm me. Don't know how much they help me, but better than not using them. That's really it. Yeah. Shiny Rock GM. I had a bad habit of smoking every day, many times a day. I tried to stop multiple times in the past, never really got anywhere. Your lessons on just focusing on not doing a bad habit one day at a time, correct? Combined with journaling helped me realize that my smoking habit was just a manifestation of me trying to impress people I don't even talk to anymore. Yes, absolutely. This all helped me cut it out for good. Yesterday marked the 3rd week without smoking, and I've never felt better. I know the battle is not over, but I can confidently say that my new drug of choice is daily self-improvement. This is just one of many examples of how this campus has changed my life for the better. We all appreciate everything you do. I'm very, very, very glad to hear that. 100%. This is literally why I do it. It's all encompassing, right? Getting better at trading should be a natural side effect of being here, but getting better as a person is what it's all about, right? In every area. That's really good, and you've nailed it. It's exactly right. I think I did a daily lesson on it. Maybe someone has it saved and they can find it and link it in the live chat. There's so much stuff we do that is not actually for us, it's for other people, right? Mostly like the way you dress is probably not for you. It's probably for, how you were conditioned growing up to what you think is like cool or stylish, which isn't a bad thing. Everyone has to wear clothes. Wear whatever clothes you want to wear. Those kind of things are fine, right? To me, that's not harming you in any way. But then things like smoking and drinking, most of the time, most people started smoking because their peers were, right? Most of us didn't sit down at 15 years old at home and just start smoking. You either did it because you were basically programmed to do it. You either did it because you thought it was cool, you wanted to impress girls, or you wanted to impress your friends. You did it because a family member did it and you were just exposed to it, right? You saw like, someone you look up to, like a parent or a grandparent smoking, and so you're like, oh, I really look up to my grandfather and he smokes, so I'm going to smoke. It's all just programming. And the reason that's different is because whether you think, we can argue about how bad smoking is. Some people think it's really bad for your health. Some people think it's not as bad as they claim it for it to be. But everyone who's rational would agree that it's not healthier to smoke cigarettes specifically. It's not healthier to smoke them than it is to not, right? There's no way that inhaling fucking toxic chemicals from some factory through a filter which is made out of plastic, so there's microplastics in that, with all the shit they spray on the tobacco. So it's not pure tobacco if it's a cigarette. It's sprayed with pesticide and chemicals and shit like that. And plus, and all the other, right? There's no way that is more healthy than just not doing it. So why would you choose to do something that is some detriment, like it has to have some detriment to your health? Why would you choose to do that? It can only be because of some type of programming or social pressure from somewhere at some point. Yeah, most people who are like 30 and they're still smoking are still doing it because they thought it was cool when they were 15, which is just frankly retarded. So, yeah, and it's really simple. Like I've smoked I've smoked and I've stopped smoking. I've smoked. So I've smoked. I'm not fucking a saint. I've absolutely smoked a bunch of times in my life. It's not hard to stop. It's not hard to stop. It's really not. You're not fucking. You might think it is, but that's again just because you're essentially just coping. You're trying to tell yourself that you're I'm addicted to them. Oh, I kind of done it. It's not. It's not an addiction. It's a habit, and habits can be changed. The only things you can physically be addicted to, the only drugs. They say nicotine's addictive, and obviously there's nicotine in cigarettes. I would argue no, because again, I've started and stopped nicotine multiple times, and I've studied it as well. I don't think it's a physical addiction. I think it's more of a habit. You'll have a little bit of withdrawals if you stop, sure, but it's not a brutal addictive, physically addictive substance. Same thing goes for weed. Pure cope. It's a habit. It's not an addiction. I'm sorry to fucking break it to you. You're not addicted to weed. You just like doing it and you don't want to stop. The things, and the reason I say this is because the definition, at least my definition of an addiction, is something that your body is physically dependent upon to live. To my knowledge, there has never been an instance of somebody who quit smoking cold turkey and died. Or somebody who quit smoking weed, cold turkey, and died. So, quitting nicotine won't kill you. Quitting THC won't kill you. But there are examples, many of them, of people who are extreme alcoholics to the point where their body became dependent on alcohol and they quit cold turkey and they died. Same goes for opiates. So, heroin and morphine and all that kind of shit. And the same thing goes for benzos. So that's like Xanax and Valium and stuff like that. Those are actual physically addictive substances to where your body can rely on them. And if you do just go cold turkey and you don't like wean off them, you could suffer serious health consequences. But if it's not any of those, it's just a habit. And stop coping and saying you're addicted. You're not. It's a habit. And you can change your habits. Mitch, GM. I have a question and I won't take it as financial advice. Okay, I think you've asked me about this a million times with the fucking leverage tokens. If it's not you, then sorry, but I seem to keep getting questions about these lever tokens. I'm holding the Bitcoin 3x lever token for a while with a significant amount of dollars, and I broke out even just 2 days ago and currently in a few thousand profit. I've accepted the risks that come with smart contracts, etc. Wondering if you were me, would you sell and move all in spot or sit patient until we hit the 50k level? 3x tokens, no liquidation. So just because there's no liquidation doesn't mean you can't get wrecked. You can absolutely get wrecked. There's no such thing as free leverage. All right, so leverage tokens might not have liquidations, but they will not move up and down in the same with the same correlation to BTC's price. So you can lose all your money on a leverage token. Absolutely. Or the vast majority of it. If you go down 99% of what you invested, you're practically fucking liquidated anyway. So, would I sell and move all into spot or sit patiently till we hit the 50k level? It's up to you. Like you said, I'm not giving you financial advice. You do it. Miller, can you tell us about the war room, the benefits of being in there, and how I meet up with people to network if I'm in there? Well, it's the best network on planet Earth. So, if you want to take what you've learned here and built here to the next level, then join. But you don't have to join. It's up to you. It's your own choice. The benefits of being in there are self-evident. If you can have a network of like-minded people that expands really every area of your life, whether it's, financially, business-wise, career-wise, if you want to just keep working as a job, health-wise, relationships, all of that, it's the place to be. And how do you meet up with people? Well, you jump on a plane or you go to a meetup. Is/GM would like to get onto the Bitcoin bull run. I already answered that question. I think you put that in. You put that in Ask Michael channel, so I've already answered that one. Rebecca, GM. Doing day 19, when backtesting option 1, I put my stop loss in my last high, but it looks like it was a fake out, but it was chopping and forming a lower high, and it looked like it was about to go down, break a structure, so move my stop loss at resistance. Is that okay? No, it's not okay. What are you moving your stop loss for? That's not how you backtest. So, you're getting too far ahead. You're supposed to just, if you're going to do boot camp, do boot camp. Do the lesson, do the things I say to do, and then just keep doing them. There's no such thing as, you can't move your stop loss on backtesting. Right? That's not a real thing. Backtesting is not about moving your stop loss. Backtesting is about replay trading to see if a system, without altering the rules, has more wins and losses or better expected value. So just stick to it one day at a time. Aladdin, do you think the upcoming downturn is an opportunity to buy a Bitcoin spot? What upcoming downturn? Right, you're like, don't think in binary terms. DGJR, would love to hear thoughts on Polis, sub 100k market cap, 100 mil market cap. Gaming coin, yeah. Yeah, I think like, I'm not really that bullish. I don't know, right? This Star Atlas, which is what Polis is part of, it was a big hyped up project in last cycle, Solana, and I think any of those coins that were connected to Alameda Research and the whole FTX scam, I just don't think that they're great investments. So no, I don't think they're great investments. Good morning, GM. I have a problem with my journal because I always write how I wake up, how I feel, Bitcoin fear and greed, Bitcoin price, and what's happening, and I don't know what to write anymore. I feel I'm not writing enough. What do you think? Just keep doing it. Don't overthink it. Stop overthinking it. It's not about having like you're probably like thinking that there's some magic thing you're missing. There's not. You're doing the most important thing, which is doing it. Over time, you should then be critically analyzing it and saying, okay, is there something I'm missing here, or is there something I don't need in here? And as you do it, not day by day, but week by week, month by month, your system and your process will evolve to the point where you find something that fits for you. I can guarantee you, because I've been through all this, there is no magic, like you're not going to find some magic thing that's missing from your process. Naturally, over time, your process will evolve into something that works for you. So don't overthink it too much. Just keep doing it. Dr. GM, when you see signs of exchanges shorting possibly, how do you see those patterns, like funding going down and open interest rising in the data of a specific exchange? Well, yeah, basically that. I mean, read trading analysis and you'll see why. Everything I say in trading analysis, where I share those charts, you can then reverse engineer what I've said and say, why does Michael think this is shorting? What's open interest doing? What's funding doing? What's CVD doing? And why does he say that? It's just generally where you see an excess of selling pressure that doesn't produce a downtrend, right? So if you see a lot of sell pressure, if you see negative CVD and then price doesn't go down, that's a divergence. If you see funding trending down and again price going up or price going sideways, that's a sign that there's a more and more of a spot premium, and so it means futures are selling in some direction, whether it's shorting or whether it's longs getting stopped out or closing. And if price then doesn't respect that, it's all about price, remember. Price is king. Price is everything. If price is not going down or it's going up, right? So if it's going sideways or up, but the data is telling you that there's signs of heavy selling, then you can take an educated guess that shorts, any shorts that are there and are still open, that they're on the wrong side. Jacob, GM. I heard you talking about gym, etc. So maybe you have some knowledge in this. I'm stuck at 65 to 70 kg for like 2 years. Can't get more. Yes, you can. Work out at home because there's no gym in my city. Do dumbbells, push-ups, and I think it's good for me. My problem is my weight. I eat literally everything. No, you don't. Except some small amount of things, but still stuck and can't get more. I use that bulk shakes with yogurts, banana milk, etc. Do you have some advice for me? Yeah, you're not eating enough. It's really simple. Unless you have a rare metabolic disease, which I am sure you don't, you're just not eating enough. It's really simple. Eat more. But what gets measured gets improved. So for 1 week, for the next week, eat like you have been eating. Don't change your diet. All the stuff you're saying, your shake, your yogurts, your banana, your milk, eat the exact same way for 1 week. Write down absolutely everything that you've eaten and weigh it. Get the weights, get the calories, the protein, carbs, and fats, get all your macros, write it all down. And figure out how many calories you actually eat in a week. Not in a day. Day by day doesn't matter. Take the week, divide it by 7. That's your average amount of calories. If you're stuck at the same weight, that is your maintenance. Right? If you're stuck at the same weight, whatever you're eating currently is roughly around your maintenance calories. If you want to get bigger or put on weight, you have to eat more. So whatever that would be, just really simple. Let's say you're eating 2,500 calories a day and you're stuck between 65 and 70 kg. Okay, cool. Add 500 calories. And then do that, and like magic, over the next few weeks, you'll put weight on. Guaranteed. It's a really simple equation. Calorie surplus, calorie deficit. It's the only way to gain and lose weight. And then when you do that, make sure obviously they're like quality, like good food, quality food. Try not to eat excess sugar or excess fat, especially like seed oils and fucking vegetable oils and all these shitty bad sources. Try and eat more high quality protein, carbs, and good fats to get those extra 500 calories. And that's it. There's not much more to it. And I was like you, right? I was like 65, 70 kg when I was like 18. And I remember I had a friend, and he said the same thing to me. Like he was like a champion sprinter, and so he was like way ahead of his age, or way ahead of his time with like his training and everything, because he'd been doing like sports specific weight training from like fucking 14 years old, and the diet and all that, and it was all very geared towards muscle, like, you know, fast twitch sprinting. And I went to uni with him. When we went to uni, I was like, I want to get bigger. And he's like, you need to eat more. And I was like, well, I do eat loads. I eat this. And I was like, you're not eating enough. It's simple. Just what I've just said. You're not eating enough. And then we would eat together, and there would be like at least, because we worked out the macros and stuff. And when I actually was eating the amount I needed to eat, guess what? It was hard because my body wasn't used to it. And it was only 500 or 600 calories more per day. But there was 20 or 30% more food on my plate at each meal. And I would get to like 70% of the meal done, and I would be full and I would not want to finish. And he goes, the only thing you need to do is clear your plate. That's it. You have to eat everything. There's no like, oh, I'm full, I'm going to throw the rest in the bin. No, you fucking eat it all. And then guess what? After a few weeks, your body adapts. You put on some weight. It's easier to complete that amount. Like, you can eat that amount of food, your body gets used to it, your stomach fucking expands or whatever it does. I know it doesn't actually expand, but it becomes used to that. Your body adapts to whatever you do. So that's all it is, bro. Eat more. Broken Fable, GM. With this uptrend in Bitcoin getting close to recent high, would you take profit on a trade you entered at, say, 40k, or hold it to see if it breaks recent highs and then take profit? The percentage difference between 50 and 48 really have significance when taking profit. What you're talking about there is dynamic EV. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's if you're talking purely from a probabilistic perspective, it's better to take profit. If you got long at 40, right, and let's say your target was not 50 specifically, but let's say you're getting long at 40 because you thought it was going to go up at least into the range high, so 48 to 50. When you got long at 40, and let's say your downside risk was 38. Right, your stop loss is 38, you entered at 40, your upside was 48 or maybe 50. So you're now sitting at profit when it's at 47, 48, and the risk, in theory, right, the risk is that it goes all the way back down to your entry point. And the reward is only a tiny fraction of what it was before. Going from 40 to 48 was the vast majority of that trade. To then keep holding for 50, if the market's showing signs of resistance, is suboptimal. Yeah, you should close that. But more important, you should already know that, as in your process. You should not have entered that trade unless you had these scenarios mapped out, saying, I'm entering now, I'm exiting at 48, or I'm entering and I'm exiting at 50, but if there's whatever, this early invalidation sign that tells me we might not get to 50, I can exit there. But yeah, that's the dynamic expected value. The expected value for your trade changes as the trade progresses. Easydology, GM. I know you hate conspiracy theories, and I was talking about what ifs. I'm talking about what ifs. I don't hate conspiracy theories. I hate people wasting their time on stuff that doesn't make their life better, right? Which is essentially just it's another form of procrastination, and it's a dopamine trap. Like all the people who argue about politics whenever it doesn't make one shit bit of difference to their life. But I have to ask you this after the Putin interview. Would you stop paying taxes if we don't get out the war with Ukraine? If I go missing, the CIA did eventually. Well, for a start, I don't live in the US, so I don't give a fuck. So yeah, it doesn't affect me. There's zero effect on me. Aaron, GM. I'm currently backtesting a very high time frame system that doesn't give a lot of entries. For now, I found 55 trades over 8 different coins, and I'm struggling to find other setups. Considering that the system is very good EV in certain coins, should I continue searching for backtests on random coins, or should I use it live on the ones that are profitable, even though I don't have a lot of data? I mean, it depends on the system, but if it's something like the swing trading masterclass that you've seen, it doesn't have to be coin specific. It's trend specific. It doesn't mean that every single coin is going to act the same, of course, but if you're trying to if you're first of all identifying that we're in a new uptrend and you saw a breakout and you're seeing a retest of the 50 EMA, and you get an entry signal, you can use that really on any coin as long as you believe the core is there, right? Is it in an uptrend? Yes. Did it have a breakout with high volume? Yes. Is it retesting the 50? Yes. Okay, well then that's all you can do. Probabilistically, the best thing to do per your system is to buy, define your risk, and set your target. It doesn't really matter what coin it is at that point. The coin selection then comes from sectors. And this is where the other Blue Belt lesson I talked about, where you look into strong and weak sectors. Because every time we go into a new leg up, something has to be leading, right? Sometimes it'd be layer ones, sometimes it'd be layer twos, it could be AI, it could be real world assets. And that's more about your sector selection, because you want to try and pick the sector and then try and pick the coin within that has the highest potential upside. So that's what you're doing. Shiny Rock, GM. If you find yourself being knowingly complacent with your crypto security, one way you can wake up is Googling my enter exchange name account was hacked on Reddit. There you will find countless examples of people who left coins on exchange for complacent with security measures and unfortunately lost their entire account balance due to a hack. Don't introduce unnecessary risks. 1. Create new separate email for exchange. 2. Enable 2FA. 3. Don't leave coins in exchange. Yeah. Good OPSEC there for sure. Not your keys, not your coins. Miller, I see only accumulation on Moki and Toshi. Have you got a small bag? Nope. Was looking at Toshi the other day because with the whole Farcaster thing, base was getting a little bit of hype. I think Toshi's in an accumulation. Yeah, I was looking at it here and it's kind of chopping around. It seems to be okay, but to me it's getting very close to the point here where how I view these chart patterns, as I've talked about this in the past. If you're in something like a compressing pennant, the closer it gets to completing, meaning if you draw it across like this, right, the longer it takes to get to the closer it gets to the end of the pennant, the more likely it is to fail. So I wouldn't buy Toshi here. I want to see this, given that it's mostly based on just this technical pattern, I actually want to see it break out, right? Break out of that level. And if it does, ride the momentum. Otherwise, I mean, what are you doing? It's a different type of trading, which I don't do. I mean, if you're just buying it here, then okay. I don't see any confirmation here. If you think, okay, Toshi will go up in future and I want to buy some, okay, fine. That's, you can do whatever you want. But for me, I would wait for it to actually start trending. Because the idea is, if you just go back to the last trend, the idea is, I don't want to sit through any of this bullshit. I want to get on as early as possible here and just ride the momentum part. Right? Because all the trends happen in very short space of time. The momentum is short and sharp, right, up for about 2 weeks, then into 2 or 3 months of shit. So that's how I approach the idea of momentum. Now, Mochi is an example of one that does have momentum. So that one's moving much better. Haven't tracked this or traded this, so I don't have an answer for how I would enter it. All I can see is a potential false breakout here, so I'll be mindful of that. Is there going to be a false breakout there? Is it going to end up coming back to support? That's where I'd be watching on Mochi, is that if this false breakout does hold, does support hold? If support holds, then probably good entry somewhere around here or here if you think that it's going to go higher. Soul Taker, I already answered that one, GM. Felfiat, collab streams are all on the way, yeah. Donny, yesterday I went to an old timers bar after smashing all my goals, and it was an old timer who told me a joke. He said, once there was a man who came into a bar and went to get a drink. The man said to the bartender, get me a drink before a fight begins. The bartender made him one. The man drank it and told him the same thing 5 times. And then the bartender said to the man, when is the fight going to start? And then the man replied, when I tell you that I don't have the money to pay for the drinks you made. Very good. Polydorus, GM, can you explain what is the halving and what will be the most possible outcome of it? Well, you tell me. It's very easy. You can go research the halving. So I can obviously tell you what the halving is, but why not do your own research? Self-educate. Come back to me, tag me in one of the channels, and tell me what you believe the Bitcoin halving is and what effect it might have. Because this is all part of being a trader. Learning all the possible factors that can influence a trend, understanding what they mean, and whether it's fundamental or technical or narrative driven, it's important to know it. Georgios, GM, already seen increase in productivity in bootcamp. Good stuff. What are your thoughts on Neutron in the Cosmos ecosystem? No thoughts on it. Never heard of it until now. Word of advice for anyone with these: if you have a coin that you like, then ask me about it. Like, who was it asked? Sorry. Like, where the fuck's that? Yeah, Miller. I see only accumulation on Mochi and Toshi. Have you got small bag? Base chain. So Miller is saying he's only seeing accumulation, meaning, per the charts, I see accumulation. So I went and looked at the charts, and I think like, yeah, Toshi might be in accumulation. Mochi seems to be going up pretty well. But don't just say a random ticker. I'm absolutely not going to answer it, because you know more about it than me. Something has drawn you to Neutron, so at least tell me what you think. I've seen that they've got this big investor. The chart is in accumulation. I've seen whatever. There's a mainnet live coming up. They've got a conference coming up. Tell me something about it, because you must know something about it, and then I'll give you my thoughts. Mustafa, what's the correlation between Bitcoin rallying and alts that are in a range but aren't at discount zone pumping? You tell me. You tell me. What do you mean? I don't know. I don't know what you're asking. What's the correlation between Bitcoin rallying and alts that are in a very specific setup? That must be something that you've seen, so what does your data tell you? H. Preziosa, GM. What do you think about Dr. David Paul and his contributions to psychology of trading? I've seen a few clips of him on YouTube. Seems pretty good. Yeah, I mean, like if you've heard after a while, like as a trader, one of the things you want to avoid is just being a consumer. So I kind of talked about this already in the stream. Once you've heard the core fundamentals of trading psychology or TA or price action or mindset or emotional control or risk management or sizing or EV, once you've heard the core, which is like everything I teach in bootcamp is meant to be all the stuff I know condensed into just what you need to know. Once you've seen that and heard that, it's time to go and apply it. If you then continue to just watch more things about psychology, you're not actually learning more, because at the end of the day, the foundation of it all is always the same few things. Trading is very much, number one, risk management, right? Number two, having edge. And then number three, sizing correctly. And risk management, under risk management, what falls into that is psychology. Risk management's easy to say, okay? I have $10,000. My 1 hour is $100. Therefore, I'm only going to risk $100 in this trade. That's risk management. Simple, yeah? The psychology element is not breaking that rule. edge. That's like the number one thing. So if you've got your risk management dialed in, then you can never blow up and go to zero. But having good risk management doesn't mean you're going to make millions of dollars. It means you're never going to go to zero, which is the most important thing. The second most important thing is finding some kind of edge. An edge is just simply, I have some type of repeatable process that can make me profit over time. And that's the holy grail. That's what we're all searching for. Constantly, every day, you have to be looking for that, right? And then third, it's sizing. Because if you have good risk management, you'll never blow up. If you have edge, you'll be able to make money over time. But if you don't position size, if you don't size correctly, you won't exploit the edge. So 1, you have to not die. 2, you have to learn how to make money, right? So make more than you lose. And then 3, you have to learn how to exploit that with correct position sizing. And that's the exact path of bootcamp. Right? So the first part is about the consistency, learning how to build systems, and then getting into the lifestyle of a trader. And then you get into blue belt, and that's where you're exposed to risk management and the identifying edge. And then what comes on later in purple belt and beyond is where you get into the position sizing and learning how to exploit that efficiency and develop the edge more deeply. Very, very good man, GM. I'm in a boot camp day 3. I shared my personally really big issue I had and still scared of it, but it's a concept that is taught to us not here. Taught us to not talk here about that subject, so I'm a bit confused. I really hope it was fine. In the end, I mean, you asked this. Disclaimer, I did not. Nothing to worry, geez, I had this little issue. Okay, cool. That's fine. The big mistake, feedback is all private, right? You'll get your big mistake feedback just on the list, and it'll just say which area you need to work on. So that's totally fine. GM. Last year I was 65 kg, now I'm 95 kg thanks to visiting my grandma. Best way to bulk. Alright. GM. That's it. Saturday. Done. 24 hours until the council. Oh, there we go. You're all going to fucking love that. That's huge. Big release. Sauna, very good, BS. I'll be in one very shortly myself. Alright. That's it. Thanks for joining, everyone. GM. Happy Saturday. Are we going to get the Bitcoin pump? Get into the Super Bowl tomorrow? Let's see. Thanks for joining, GM. Any questions, tag me in Bootcamp Ask Michael. GM. Okay. In fact, what I'm going to do is, don't hang up yet. Don't exit this stream yet. I've got a surprise announcement. Who's ready for the surprise announcement? So tomorrow, Sunday, 11th of February, 2024, at 10 p.m. UTC, myself and Professor Arno will be going live. Crossover stream that everyone was asking for. GM. Me and Arno from the Business Mastery Campus will be going live. That's going to be interesting to say the least. There's going to be a lot of shit posting and shit talking, no doubt, along with some actionable alpha for your lives. A lot of 125x leverage memes, no doubt. Looking forward to it. So make sure you're there. 10 p.m. So there won't be a regular stream. There'll be no 5 p.m. stream. But 10 p.m. UTC. Yeah, later on because time zone differences. Me and Arno will be going live. GM. It will be recorded, as it's always recorded. But I hope to see you all there live. That's it. GM, thanks for joining. Talk soon.